just want to welcome everyone. My name is Stephanie Racine. I'm an admissions representative here with George Mason, and I'm joined tonight by Dr. Brenda Scheingold, our program director, and we actually have a recent graduate of the program, Cindy Miller. So thank you all so much for joining us tonight. So just to give you an idea of tonight's agenda, we're going to cover several exciting things. For example, we're going to start by meeting our program director. Then we'll learn a little bit about why people choose George Mason's MHA program, including the learning outcomes, curriculum details, the capstone project, and how to network and make the most of the program outside of the classroom. And then we'll have the pleasure of hearing about Cindy Miller's experience in the program. Then we'll go over the admissions requirements, and then most people's favorite part of the program, that's where you all will get the chance to type in all of your questions. I can see that everyone's figured out how to use the webinar chat, it looks like. So I am going to go ahead and let Dr. Scheingold tell us a little bit about herself. And then if you hear anything during the program that you want to know more about, please go ahead and type in the question. And then, like I said, at the end, we'll read those and we'll go ahead and get those answers for you. So Dr. Scheingold, tell us about you, your background, and just what you love about the MHA program.
Well, first of all, thanks to all of you for taking time this evening to spend with us. I really appreciate that. All of us at George Mason appreciate it. I'm here this evening representing my colleague, Dr. Maria Urio, as well as myself, and she's the online program coordinator. So I've been at George Mason since December of 2018, and I work in partnership with Dr. Urio for advising and managing the online students, as well as the traditional students, and those are the on-campus students. We often refer to them as traditional students, so you'll hear that. I'm very happy to work at George Mason. It's a wonderful program. We just won a national award in sustainability, so I'm very proud about that. This was a competitive award with other MHA programs, and we were selected by a blue ribbon panel to win that. So it's really elevated the visibility of our program even more than it was before. So I'm looking forward to all of your questions this evening. And I live in Burke. I see somebody is here this evening from Burke, so I'm happy about that. And Rice and Harrisonburg, and there's probably other places I didn't catch in the chat box, but welcome to all of you. So what makes our program unique is that it's CAMI accredited, and I'm sure that all of you are only evaluating and assessing programs that are CAMI accredited. That's the national accreditation, similar to Joint Commission. You may be more familiar with that for hospital accreditation, but it raises the bar and elevates the expectations from us by external reviewers and external programs and students like yourself, because it helps keep us on our toes to be a top drawer program. We're also, just last week, our ranking actually increased in US News and World Report to number 32. So we've moved up in the rankings, and we're very happy about that. The rankings were just released literally a week ago, so we're moving up, and I'm proud of that. The flexible format is something that's also different for online students in terms of being asynchronous and fitting in with your schedule. So the classes are offered completely online, so that you can log on and log off and complete the work around your other busy life demands. We do have synchronous sessions often during the course of a class, and we'll record them and post the Zoom link in the class so that you can go back and listen to it if you're not able to attend in person. There's also a lot of opportunities to get involved outside of the classroom, and Cindy can give you an up close and personal look at that because she took advantage of that and was involved in quite a bit. So I'll let her talk about that and from a personal perspective, but we do have a very active student organization where we're committed to have 2 officers in place, the vice president and the community liaison from the online program, and they partner with the president and the treasurer from the traditional on-campus program. So we have equal representation from both pathways because it's the same exact program. There's no difference in the classes. There's the faculty teaches in both pathways, and we're very careful to say pathways because we have one CAMI accreditation for both. It's unusual to have a mirror image for both online and traditional students, but we do. And we pull it off with precision, I must say, because we're very careful to be inclusive of online students and offer the exact same opportunities. So we can go to the next slide if you want, Stephanie. So we have competencies that are embedded in every single class, and they meet the CAMI and AUPHA, the Association for University Programs in Healthcare Education. And they are very, very careful to meet those competencies. We're required to measure them. We measure when you come in to see what your baseline is. We measure them again midway through the program, and then we do one final measurement right before you graduate so that we can adjust the classes and the courses to meet the needs of the market and to meet your needs and to see where we might have to fine tune and change a class or change a course. We're very organic. None of our curriculum is stagnant, and we seek to stay cutting edge all the time. So we can go to the next slide. Okay, so don't worry about the busyness of this slide. It's a representation, it's a snapshot of the classes that we offer. So on the left-hand column are the core classes that everybody takes, regardless of which of the 2 concentrations you choose. Healthcare quality is a new concentration we just started offering this year. And it's because our advisory board for the MHA program and the employers have said, this is a direction that they would like to see students go in. Value-based purchasing is becoming more and more important in the market. And this focuses on that to give you the skills you need to operate in that dynamic. The executive concentration is more for administration and high-level management. It focuses less on the dashboards and the value-based purchasing that the healthcare quality concentration focuses on. So this one is more traditional in terms of what our previous executive education has been. So we've upcycled this to also meet the market, and so you have one of these 2 choices to make. Not right away, but after you have some of the core classes under your belt, you can choose. We can go to the next. Oh, I want to mention the sunset on this slide because this is actually from our campus, and this is really what the sunset looks like. I just last week was walking down a path along George Mason, and 2 students were struggling to take a selfie with the sunset because it's beautiful and on campus at George Mason. And I stopped and put all my stuff down and said, let me just take a picture of the 2 of you. So this is real and just represents, the beauty of our campus in Virginia. So now we can go to the next slide. So the capstone class is one of the things that you work towards at the very end. Everything leads up to that. And this is when you network to find a preceptor. We give you lots of tools and opportunities to network with executives in the DMV in this area. We're in the backyard of Washington, D.C. So we're well connected in the healthcare community with other executives and organizations. And we bring a lot of people to campus through Zoom. And if you live close by, in person. so that you have the opportunity to develop those network skills which are required for this degree. You can't really graduate in an administrative role without being able to do that. So we give you lots of opportunity and coaching, and we have a wonderful relationship with our community partners. So they seek out opportunities to work with our students. And we just had someone who is an alumni who is the president of 10 hospitals in West Virginia. And he just did a Zoom session on value-based purchasing 2 weeks ago. So we bring a lot to the table for you in terms of finding a preceptor. So this is a strategic plan or a quality improvement or a process improvement or a population health project that really allows you to deploy the skills that you've gotten under your belt for 2 years with us and apply it to an organization. It's a service project, and help them resolve something that they may not have had the opportunity to or time to spend on. And it certainly often saves a lot of money for consultants when you do your capstone project. So we can go to the next slide. So I mentioned Rising Healthcare Leaders at Mason. That's our student organization. We just seated a brand new bench of officers for that last week because we have to rotate out officers every year, and two of them were graduating. So we just have brand new officers that are coming in that you'll have the opportunity to meet in August. We also network with the National Capital Healthcare Executives Association, and they came in March in force during a spring symposium our students hosted, and they did a lot of resume reviews with the students and gave feedback on their resumes and what they look for when they interview for jobs after graduation. We have an honor society and a nationally recognized Academy Health student chapter. We also offer a health policy seminar series. As you can imagine, we attract the top people in policy because of where we're located. And then national case competitions, which we fund completely. 2 national case competitions annually, which Cindy can speak to personally because she was the captain of one of those teams. And we went to New Orleans for 4 days for that particular competition. And that same competition will be held in Atlanta this year. And that's the National Association for Health Service Executives, NACE, if you've heard of that before. We can go to the next slide. Here is Cindy with her team. And as you can see, they were strong. They did a great job, and we're so proud of them. And we were so pleased with how the work they did for this was phenomenal. And they really presented themselves professionally. And I just love this picture. I think it really just represents the program in every way. So I think the next slide is Cindy. Oh, the admissions process. So the admissions process is spelled out on this slide that you have to have a bachelor's degree. And increasingly, we're seeing more students that don't have work experience in the field. So I know someone I saw in the chat is here from our undergrad program and is interested, I believe, in the accelerated bachelor's to master's. So we're increasingly not requiring work experience because we give you so much in the master's program in terms of being able to function in healthcare. You need a resume and a statement of purpose. The statement of purpose should explain why you want to get a master's degree and what you think you might want to do with it. Well, of course, we want you to come in with an open mind and be able to explore and feel comfortable being exposed to anything in healthcare and make that decision after you have some courses under your belt. You need 2 letters of recommendation professional letters, not from your mother. They have to be an employer or a former professor, or someone that has some relationship with you professionally. And then there's a video interview at the very end. As you go through these other 3 steps, the very last thing is a video interview with the admission specialist like Stephanie. And then, the admissions committee makes a decision about admission to the program. So we make it very easy, and it's very prescribed. It's difficult to make an error, and we make sure that you're supported through the entire process. We can go to the next slide. So here we have questions, and I'd like to give Cindy the opportunity, and we can maybe go back to her slide with her team to introduce herself. She just got a new job. Since she has her new credentials, she can tell you about that too. And then her experience at George Mason. And then we'll open it up to questions, to anything you'd like to ask.
For anyone that joined us late, Cindy Miller is a recent graduate of the program. So I know a lot of times people say during the admissions process, hey, can I talk to a current or former student? So now's your chance to get those questions ready. Cindy, can you hear us okay?
I can. How are you, everyone? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you well. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Cindy Miller, and I am a recent graduate at George Mason University, and what an honor and what a wonderful journey it's been. I remember being exactly where you're at right now. When I started, it was 2020, in the summer of 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. And coming to a point where I'm like, hey, would right now be a good time to go to school? As I've always wanted to. But a little bit about my background is that I am also a licensed practical nurse, so I'm an LPN. I am I'm a active duty spouse in the Air Force. Well, actually now my husband has officially retired as of December. So we've traveled the world. And I was able to be a student at George Mason, being the fact that I traveled from place to place. I'm also a mother. So being able to multitask was one of the key decisions that I made in wanting to be a student at George Mason University, because it allowed me to support my family, be there for my family, be actively involved in my children's extracurricular activity, and also being a military spouse. So I was able to multitask all of that while also being very well supported with everyone at George Mason University. It's been really a joy. So if you're thinking okay, I have a busy schedule, will I be able to take on classes, take on courses? Yes, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. I did it. You can do it. Wow, it's just such an honor to be here with you guys tonight, that I'm on this side of talking to students, when just 2 years ago, I was exactly where you are at right now. And I still remember the job interview aspect of it as well. I was really nervous. And yet 2 years later, here I am. And also, on top of being a licensed practical nurse, I also have my bachelor's degree in healthcare administration with a minor in organizational management. And what I will say is this: as I navigated through healthcare, through the healthcare sector as a nurse, part of the difficulty that I had, just personally speaking, being a licensed practical nurse, when I navigated through the healthcare realm, I wanted to break away from the bedside And I wanted to go into a more administrative role. And the problem or the challenges that I ran into was that the millisecond I presented my resume, every single place that I went into, they immediately went straight for my clinical background, and they focused in and they honed in on my clinical background. And I was not really able to break into the more administrative aspect of healthcare for that particular reason. And what George Mason did, because of the fact that they are so well connected with higher ups in the healthcare industries, executive directors, CEOs, CFOs, you name it, they're in connection with almost everyone within the Northern Virginia area. I was able to finally break into the more administrative role for the first time throughout my entire medical history, for the first time this December. So I'm happy to announce that I am a healthcare manager with United Healthcare. And I've been a nurse for about 15 years. And I've had my bachelor's degree for 9 years. And during the course of that time, because of the fact that the university that I went to previously did not foster the professional connections that would warrant an environment that would be conducive for me to break into the more administrative role, I wasn't able to do that. But with George Mason, with the reputation that they have and the partnerships that they have with healthcare industries, I was able to break in the week of graduation. The week of graduation, that's unheard of. It's been a wonderful journey, and I felt very supported along the way. And it's just an honor to be here tonight. It really is. It really is.
Well, congratulations, Cindy. That is so impressive. Congratulations
So
on that new
much.
job.
Thank
I,
you.
I know a lot of students tend to ask, well, what is it about this degree that you were able to leverage to be able to get this job? Would you say it was the hands-on experiences that you had during the program where maybe you had to showcase something to an employer, or do you believe it was just the resume and credential? Did the employer, when you were interviewing, say anything in particular that stood out about your resume this time around?
Well, it was all of it. Everything that you said, absolutely all of it. So I was able to make connections with individuals that I would not have been able to make connections with before. Perfect example. I was able to build a connection with Audrey Smith. Audrey Smith is a senior policy advisor for Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. I would not have been able to make that connection with her. And I was able to make that connection with her more so towards the end of our classes when we're trying to find preceptorships towards the end. Ms. Smith is also a George Mason University alumni. And so I was first introduced to her during that time, and then was able to then connect with her after classes as well via email. She was so open, willing to help. And we even scheduled in a coffee date. So it's just like to arrange a coffee date with a senior advisor of West Virginia's senator. That's pretty impressive. I also had a wonderful opportunity to interact with and actually get a lot of financial corporate advice from Mr. Ron Ewald. He's a senior vice president for Inova Healthcare Systems, COO, CFO for Inova Fairfax Hospital. That's pretty impressive. It's the connection that you're able to build and the network that you're able to build with, actually through George Mason, because they're so well connected. And even meeting with individuals or tapping into organizations that I would have never have known existed. I had the opportunity to meet with Melissa Mon-Bouquet. She's the Deputy Director for Built Health Challenge. And what she does is that she meets with other organizations, nonprofit organizations, to help tackle social determinants of health. And that is something that is very dear to my heart. And she actually motivated me to actually tackle into that as well, because that is also my focal point with United Healthcare, is that I do deal with social determinants of health for individuals that are on Medicaid. So, so what George Mason was able to allow me to do was to tap into the passions that I've always wanted to tap into, but didn't necessarily have the connections or the network to do that. And George Mason University allowed me the opportunity to have that network in order to make that happen, which was an absolute honor. What I really had the opportunity to do, which is like so exciting, I'm so proud of it. During the interviewing process, I was able to talk about being nominated and being selected by Dr. Scheingold and Dr. Urio to represent George Mason University at the NACI competition. And for those of you who do not know what NACI is, it is the National Association for Health Services Executives. We had the wonderful opportunity, along with well, they're my friends, my dear friends, Khadijah and Brittany, to represent George Mason University to tackle the challenges of nursing shortages in Louisiana, and just coming up with strategies in order to tackle that. It was a wonderful opportunity. George Mason paid for all of it. I felt like I have to mention that. George Mason University paid for all of it. The flight, the hotels, our meals, they paid for all of it. It was just such an honor to be able to represent a university that I hold very dear to my heart, and to represent them the way that I hopefully was able to make them proud. So yes, go for George Mason. You're not going to lose. This it's a wonderful opportunity. Go, run, do it.
Well, thank you so much, Cindy. And you did represent us well. We're so proud of you. And I want to point out in this picture of Cindy on the left-hand side, Brittany is also an online student. So out of the team of 3 that we sent to this competition in New Orleans, 2 were online students. The other one, Khadijah, that she mentioned, was the president of the Student Association. Brittany and Khadijah are both graduating in 10 days. So soon everybody will be an alumni that's in this picture. So yeah, thank you for that wonderful, for relating that wonderful experience, Cindy. That was very
Thank you.
Very heartwarming.
Yes, thank you so much, Cindy. And while you were giving an overview, we did have a question come in from one of our attendees who was asking, what advice would you give to a student in managing work in the field, motherhood, and school? Were there any strategies that you could share for success in the program?
That is a wonderful question. I have a wonderful team. I'm just going to be honest with you. I have a wonderful team. I have a very supportive husband. I take the help. The best advice that I can give as a mother, as an active duty spouse, is take the help. And if mom is able to give you help, if your friends, if your siblings is able to give you help, take the help. I was able to take on being a full-time student online because I did have a very supportive team around me, and I accepted the help. So set a schedule, be very organized. In order for me to do some of the assignments that I was able to do, the projects, I had to delegate tasks off to family members. And I had to just manage my time and set time aside for yourself and stick to that time. That was really how I was able to get through is, that we've had many pizzas. There's been many a nights where I didn't cook. We pizzaed out or had some cereal for dinner. There's going to be times laundry is probably going to have to wait till the end of the week, and just being okay with that. And it's okay. It's okay. And just being able to just pull in the help when you need it. When you need the help, ask for help. Don't just balance it all. Just, yeah.
Thank you. And we did have another question. There's an ongoing dialogue of experience versus education in relation to what prepares individuals more for challenges in the workforce. Now that you've settled into your healthcare management position, congratulations, by the way,
Thank
the
you.
student says, do you feel that Mason prepared and increased your ability to be a better leader? Or maybe you could give us a couple of examples of how that was accomplished?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have a force behind you when you are a student or an alumni with George Mason. You have a force behind you. Before coming to George Mason, it's a mandate that you have to have your bachelor's degree. So although I had my bachelor's degree, I didn't have that backing. I didn't have that backing. I didn't have the support. I didn't have the network. So after I graduated, although I had the education, although I did have a background in healthcare, I didn't have that necessary support to push me through, in through the door so I can tap into the more administrative aspect of everything. But George Mason not only prepared me through like the network that there is there, but the classes challenge you every step of the way. And they force you to think outside the box through different scenarios, tons of case studies, tons of case studies, tons of case studies. And through those case studies, you're able to work through and facilitate through some of the issues that we combat through healthcare. Rather, it is issues of social determinants of health, which is my favorite, or just like corporate financing and how to manage the healthcare system, health insurance, and all the finances and everything like that entails. So you are equipped with a lot of tools to help navigate through, to also give you the self-esteem to navigate through those spaces. So you're not alone. And even after you graduate, I'm an alumni. I could still, call Dr. Strangled. I could still call Dr. Uriel. I'm not alone. You're not alone. And you can still tap into those resources. If I have any questions or any issues about, let's just say, corporate financing or anything like that, I can call Mr. Ron Ewald, and I can ask, a senior advisor for Inova any corporate questions that I have. You have literally an army of health executives that are literally at your fingertips that you can tap into at any time. It's a family of George Mason. And once you graduate, you can still tap into those resources.
Yes, and it sounds like a common thread here is in the online format for students to really take the initiative and get involved in activities to build these relationships. And it's so wonderful to have an online program that offers students so many opportunities to get involved and make these connections. But you do have to be self-motivated and learn to not be shy about reaching out for help or to make these connections. So thank you so much, Cindy.
Absolutely.
And this next question, Dr. Scheingold, it may be a good one for you to answer. A student is asking if they ended with a pretty good grade point average, but earlier on in the college career, family issues happened and the GPA wasn't as high, resulting in being asked to leave the university early on in the career. But then they went back and had a higher GPA, well above a 3.0. what advice would you have for people in that situation who maybe they didn't start off with the best grade point average, but they managed to pull it up in their major or closer toward the end? How
Mhm.
can someone build a strong file for admission in your eyes?
That's a great question, and it happens more often than you'd think. Many people that end up applying for a master's in healthcare administration start out clinically in pre-med and in other physical therapy, for example, just other, even chemistry. A lot's coming to mind about how they start out, and they end up having a poor fit and they don't get good grades because it's a poor fit. They're still in the process of struggling to understand where they belong. So the grades reflect that. But the best way to handle it, and congratulations for pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and coming and finishing strong, because that's not easy to do. But you did it, which really demonstrates resilience and is a trait that you have to have. You have to have it, and as a leader, and to succeed in healthcare administration, especially nowadays post-pandemic, the challenges are enormous. So what I suggest is that you discuss exactly what you just did tonight in your purpose statement, so that it lays the foundation of understanding for the committee reading your application of what happened. And we've heard it before. It's not unique. What is unique is that you overcame it and that you finished strong and you found your way. So, and we hope you find your way to George Mason, because that's the kind of person we want.
If it's okay, can I kind of piggyback a little bit off of what you said, Dr. Scheingold?
Yeah.
Um, as while I was a student at George Mason, I lost my sister. My sister passed away of cancer, and it was very hard. It was extremely difficult for me and my family at that time. And I was supported every step of the way. There were times where I couldn't even bring myself to look at my studies. I couldn't. But I kept an open line of communication with my professors, and that is key. If you're going through a rough time, or if there's any types of situations that is going on, to keep an open line of communication with your professors, and let them know what's going on, and so that they can help you. If you're having a hard time, don't just stay quiet and allow your grades to slip. Have an open line of communication with your advisor as well, and I was able to navigate through my studies. I was able to navigate through exams and my coursework, and here I am today. So it's possible. You can do it. It's possible. You can do it even through hardships. You have a team behind you. When I say that you have a team behind you, you have a team behind you that will help you, and their goal is for you to succeed. So tap into that.
Thank you, Cindy. And I'm so sorry about your sister. And it sounds like you were able to hang in there and communicate with your instructors and finish up, something to really be proud of. And I know our time together is coming to a close here soon. I'm going to give just another minute or two for any last questions to trickle in. But while I do that, I did promise a student earlier on in the week that I spoke with that I would ask this question for him. I'm not sure if he's on the line today. But I've noticed that we have, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of former nurses, sometimes even some doctors or physical therapists or medical assistants that apply to the program that are coming over from more of a clinical role, or they may even still be in those positions while pursuing this degree. And one of them asked if this degree could satisfy any continuing education credits, or is that completely separate?
Continuing education credits, I'm assuming to renew a license. I'm
Yes.
guessing that's what it's for. And that depends on the state. And it depends on the specific continuing education requirements, because it's very prescribed and they spell it out. For example, for myself, because I'm a nurse and I renew my license every other year in the state of Virginia. Well, it's a multi-pack license, but because I teach in a university in healthcare, that counts as continuing education for me in Virginia. So you have to look at the statutes that are involved for license renewal state by state to see if taking courses in health system management qualify you for renewal. So that's the best I can answer that. And Cindy's probably had to redo her license also. So you really have to look at the statutes and the requirements, in detail to make sure, but usually they're pretty flexible about it.
Of course. Thank you so much, Dr. Scheingold. Well, it looks like everyone is very satisfied with all of these answers. We had some great questions tonight, and I so appreciate you, Dr. Scheingold, and also Cindy, for joining us with your very thorough, detailed explanations about what to expect in this program. And I did want to point out that we are still accepting applications for the August 24th start date. You're right on time. You're not late if you are considering that start date. On this slide, you'll see our admissions phone number. If you are just lying awake tonight in bed and think, oh, I should have asked that question and I forgot to, please give us a call tomorrow. Our admissions team will be happy to assist you, send out the list of courses, all of the breakdown of everything you need, the tuition, the courses themselves, and the admissions requirements. You can also send us an email at online2@gmu.edu, and it will be fielded out to one of us in admissions. And if you're ready to apply to the program, just visit masononline.gmu.edu to start on that application. And we hope to hear from you all soon. So thank you all for joining us. And I will go ahead and, is there anyone else that would like to share before I close this out? Okay, well, thank you again so much. We're getting some thank yous from the participants, so thank you again, and I will go ahead and stop the recording. Have a great night, everyone.